Well, good afternoon. I'm Gary Brady, the very proud principal of Hillsborough High School, and I want to thank you for choosing our school to share this important announcement. We strive to ensure our students have every tool and resource they need to be successful. Part of that is creating a safe learning environment. Our district has added security upgrades and increased security measures on all of our campuses. Now today, we're grateful that the U.S. Department of Justice is providing even more. I'd like to introduce our speakers today and also our guests in attendance. Catherine Sullivan, Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General from the Office of Justice Programs in the Department of Justice. Jeff Aiken, Superintendent, Hillsborough County Public Schools. Chief Brian Dugan from the Tampa Police Department. And Senior Anthony Allen, our Vice President of Student Government and the President of our Start With Hello Club. Also in attendance, Karen Hopman, First Assistant United States Attorney, United States Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Florida. In addition, I would like to thank our faculty, staff, and administration, and Officer Noel, who strive on a daily basis to keep our students safe and secure. Now I'd like to turn it over to Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Catherine Sullivan.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Principal. It's wonderful to be here in Tampa. We've had such a warm welcome. I want to thank Superintendent Aikens, Principal Brady, and one of your amazing students, Anthony Allen, who I've had a good chance to talk with. And thank you for allowing me to join with you today at this beautiful school. I'm just going to go off remark a little bit, make everyone nervous, but I did want to just say that the history of this school, it's so absolutely beautiful. And there's such a pride that you feel in the school when you're walking around, and certainly that I got from Anthony and from Principal Brady and speaking to them. And I love the fact that you all have preserved the school, but you're also preserving the safety of students. And that is such a spectacular thing, an incredible feat, really. Anthony was telling me that sometimes the students complain about bottlenecking when they're coming in the atrium, which I got to check out. But you know, the truth is that you have to figure out how to keep, unfortunately, in this day and age, students safe, and you've still allowed them to be in this beautiful environment. So I know that's the message that Anthony gives to his students, and so I so appreciate that. This is a school of action. I also think that you should be commended on that, Principal and Superintendent. That's how Anthony described his school, is a school of action, meaning that they are actually taking the steps to keep everyone safe. And I want to bring greetings from a man that is absolutely nothing but action, and that's our Attorney General, Bill Barr. He sends his congratulations and his thanks to the administrators, teacher, and all the staff who power the future of Hillsborough High students. We need to remember as well that this entire community, it's 220,000 students, correct, throughout all of Hillsborough County, is that correct? And then, so you have 220,000 students that this superintendent is in charge of keeping safe. And so I know that you're a man of action. Attorney General Barr is so grateful. We are all so grateful for the guidance and inspiration that you're providing to the kids in your charge. He sends, Attorney General Barr sends his deep appreciation to the dedicated law enforcement officers who protect Tampa's communities and serve the city's youth. And of course, the Attorney General speaks for all of us in expressing his admiration for the amazing students of Hillsborough High. And I can't wait to go back to Washington and tell Attorney General Barr about you, Anthony. These young people are so remarkable in the way they stand up to the many challenges they face every day, and this prospect of violence in their schools is not the least among them. So let me also extend thanks to the outstanding U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida, Maria Chapez Lopez, and who's being represented today by First Assistant U.S. Attorney from her office, Karen Hopman. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us. And it is a privilege to announce today substantial investment in the safety of Hillsborough communities, especially in the safety of the county's schools. Earlier today, I actually had the privilege of joining the Tampa Mayor Castor, Chief Dugan, and Pam Iorio, the president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, which is of course headquarters here in Tampa. Together we announced more than $27 million in grants to support students and youth in Florida. I'm here now, again in this beautiful facility, this beautiful school, go Big Red, to announce that $6.4 million of that $27 million will help school districts and law enforcement agencies across the state protect students from the all too real threat of school violence. Last year, President Trump signed the Stop School Violence Act into law because he believed that children should be allowed to learn and grow fear and violence. I'm so pleased that $1.2 million in STOP grants will go to Hillsborough County. These funds are going to be used to strengthen threat assessments, create threat assessment teams, which are absolutely vital, better prepare first responders, and help students and faculty report tips and leads that can prevent shootings and other acts of school violence. They also represent part of a nationwide commitment from this administration to the safety of America's schools. In conjunction with today's announcement here at Hillsborough High, the Department of Justice is awarding more than $85 million in STOP grant money across the nation to help all of our students feel safe. I want to just talk quickly about a program that Anthony heads up, and I think he's going to talk about it personally himself, and I'm going to shut up because he's way more interesting than I could ever hope to be. But I just want to say this idea and this program that he heads up, which isn't even part of the funding, but is just so incredibly impressive. Start with hello, and creating a kindness day and other things like that in the school is something that, as he was telling me about it, I was just moved. I think that that is the very beginning and something that can be student-led. It certainly doesn't take care of some of these bigger issues that we're talking about, but we have got to commend these students at Hillsborough High for participating and creating and then implementing such an innovative, wonderful pay-it-forward kind of program. So congratulations especially to you, Anthony. Thank you so much, Principal Brady. Thank you so much, Superintendent. You guys run a great school, and we're so happy to be able to be supportive. Thank you.
And now, Superintendent Jeff Akins.
Gary's doing a great job emceeing, isn't he? So I'll, first of all, I want to start off by also welcoming, we have two of our school board members here with us today, Miss Cindy Stewart and Miss Lynn Gray. Thank you for being here and always being supportive of Hillsborough High and also what we're trying to do to ensure safety of all the students here in Hillsborough County. I also want to recognize our Chief Newman, who's here today. Does an amazing job with our security staff, working with all of our schools, and Ms. Holly Say, who's our Director of Student Services today. Thank you for being here. Ms. Tracy Brown also heads up all of our federal programs and academic programs. And then we have our amazing grants team, who puts together some incredible applications that go to these needy resources necessary to ensure safety. So we have some incredible partners in the room. I can't thank Principal Brady enough for everything he does to create an environment and culture right here, along with his administrative team and teachers, to support students and support their overall safety and ensuring that they are proactive. They are setting the tone for all the other schools in our school district, as they were one of the very first schools to implement Start With Hello. And now we have in all of our schools a Start With Hello program being implemented this year, and we're extremely excited about that. I want to thank the U.S. Department of Justice and Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General Sullivan. That is quite a title, I'm telling you what. And you earn it, I'm just going to tell you, for doing everything that she can do and they can do to prevent and reduce school violence. We made safety improvements and added new security measures to all of our campuses after Sandy Hook, and now we've even added more layers since Parkland. It's been a change for all of our students and families and our staff. You know, in 1928, think about when this school was first opened its doors. School security was not at the top of everyone's mind as we built these amazing facilities. This school was built to be grand, and it is quite grand. And the architects and designers focused more on how students and staff would move from one place to the next. Now we have to consider access points and knowing who is on our campus at all times. When you entered the school today, you walked in through the vestibule. This one small change takes nothing away from the beauty of the school, but it adds so much to the safety. Our students and staff can concentrate on learning, getting to graduation, and a successful future. Our parents trust us every day when they send their children to school, and that is why we continue to look for ways to improve. And so everything that we're doing here in Hillsborough County is to validate that trust. So this grant, $1.24 million that is coming to Hillsborough County Public Schools, and through the Stop Violence Act, and we just can't thank the Department of Justice enough for these funds to help, you know, ensure that we are operating at that very highest level, ensuring safety for our students, being preventative, being proactive, being collaborative with our local, all of our local law enforcement agencies in order to ensure safety for our students. The first grant is going to bring about $492,000 to the school district. This is going to improve students in middle school that are having some challenges with some behavior issues, and we want to get ahead of that. We want to help before those behaviors continue to escalate. We have a program that we will be purchasing that will be provided, and training will be provided to our staff at the middle school level to deliver that curriculum to ensure that we start to see those behaviors change to help our students make better choices. Another part of our grant will be able to bolster our behavioral threat assessment process. That's going to be about $500,000. We have responsibility to have a threat assessment team on every campus. We now have a tool that we will be investing in that everyone will be able to see, you know, the issues and challenges that our students are facing. We'll be able to make better decisions about how to protect our children with that particular tool and that collaboration. And then $250,000 will be used to improve the security at our schools through the placement and use of public safety locks. When we have an emergency on any of our campuses, whoever is the first to arrive, we want to make sure that there's no hindrance to anyone accessing our campus to be able to get on our campus and correct that challenge or that emergency. And so having that public safety lock so that our local law enforcement agencies or fire rescue can access our facility, you know, in a safe manner, in a secure manner, is truly going to benefit, you know, the overall safety of our buildings and our staff. So it does take a coordinated effort. It takes everyone in this room to do this right, and I can't thank enough the staff here and our federal partners here that have come today. I can't thank you enough for what you are bringing. This money is going to be put to good use. And I couldn't be more appreciative that I am today up here as the superintendent of schools, knowing that we have a school district that puts the safety of our students as its top priority to ensure that they are learning safely in schools every day. We have great leaders and teachers that are doing amazing things with them, but to know that they're doing it in an environment by which they can now continue to bloom and blossom and be those graduates that we know that they can become here in Hillsborough County and go on to great things. So thank you very much for everything that you have done today to bring these dollars to keep our children safe.
Now, Tampa Police Department Chief Brian Dugan.
Thank you. I'd like to commend the Department of Justice for this. This is a big help. I'd like to thank Jeff Akins, the superintendent. You know, Jeff does a phenomenal job of bringing everybody together and having a partnership, and that's what I think this money is going to do. Is it brings everyone together and gives a big picture to law enforcement, to school security, and to the teachers. You know, in law enforcement, we have a complete understanding on how to keep you safe at night. You know, Sheriff Chad Chronister for the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and I, we speak all the time. You know, Ken Albano from Temple Terrace to Ed Duncan in Plant City. You know, it's a holistic approach to keeping our students safe. But what this does is these programs will allow us to see the big picture of what's going on. We know how to keep people safe, but we don't always understand the culture of each school. And that's where you have the superintendent, the principals, school security, and everybody working together to have clear communication as to what is a threat, what isn't a threat, and what the intent is. And when you talk about simple stuff of locking down a school, you know, that's pretty easy, isn't it? We can just lock the doors. But what you're also doing is you're locking out the first responders. And so it's that communication of if something happens, how are we going to get the first responders into the school and things like that. And this is a holistic approach, which is really what's been needed for so long. And I think it's great that we're able to communicate and put everybody on the same page and give everyone the big picture.
All right. And Senior Anthony Allen, Vice President of Student Government, President of Start With Hello, future President of the United States.
I would just like to begin with thank you all for being here. Thank you for the kind words, Mr. Brady. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, President. Thank you for being here. Well, I would like to begin with a quote from President Kennedy. He once said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." In his speech, he is calling on Americans to be fearless and face the challenges of their time, such as the Cold War. Although we may not be facing a Cold War, we are facing a challenge that calls us to protect ourselves and our schools. There's always a constant underlying danger that we all feel when we're at school. I can sadly say I haven't felt safe attending school in the past years. With every bang on a locker and yell in the hallway, I jump and think about the worst. However, I have never felt safer than now. Truly, these grants and programs and knowing that we have leaders that are fighting for us makes me feel protected every day. Knowing that these grants will address mental health, threat assessment, and both teacher and student training, I cannot put into words how grateful I am that you are making us feel safer, but also feel safer. Every student should know the signs of a student in need. Every student should feel comfortable asking for help, and every student should know where they can go and tell an adult if they see or hear something wrong. That's why I'm so grateful to attend Hillsborough, because I see Mr. Brady and all the other APs interact with us, and that builds trust, and I feel comfortable talking to them about anything. And I know at some other schools, it's not like that. And that's why these grants and programs are so important, because they allow us to feel comfortable in school and even create clubs such as Start With Hello or Be Kind. And these clubs teach children and teens how to be more socially inclusive and connected to each other. And it asks students, teachers, parents, and other community leaders who interact with children to take steps in the classroom, the lunchroom, and on the bus to be inclusive and connected. And we do this by building a culture of inclusiveness, practicing being an upstanding citizen, and providing tools on how to break the ice, break down barriers, and break down possible threats and danger in real time. 2 years ago, I had the privilege to speak at the kickoff event of Start With Hello in Hillsborough County. And there I challenged Superintendent Akins and Mr. Brady and everyone in the auditorium to make a difference. And with these grants, you have answered the cries of many of my peers. And on behalf of them, I want to say thank you for not being a bystander, but asking what you can do for your country and doing it. However, I do want to end with please don't stop here, because we have far to go.
Any questions?
Superintendent, this is fantastic with all the money, but I assume, and I've been talking in the past, there are probably other needs. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, these grants are going to be incredible as far as our mental health, increasing our effectiveness with our threat assessment tools, and then of course the public safety locks. That's going to be great. We also continue to have other hardening needs that we're taking care of. We know the state is once again, we're applying for other funds. We get our mental health funds that are coming, that we're delivering youth mental health training to all of our staff and students. Now we'll be taking 5 hours upcoming of mental health training, so that's going to be part of that. You heard us talk about the Start with a Low. That is now, we're training all of our schools this year in some type of Start with a Low program. Those are, and of course, the ongoing social and emotional learning is taking place, in our classrooms every day. This is all creating an environment and a foundation, a very strong foundation here in Hillsborough County, by which our students, just like Anthony said, feel safer, knowing there are conditions around our schools that sometimes aren't safe, but within our schools, our students are safe. All right, thank you very much for being here today. Appreciate it.